This morning, the clock is ticking down on Capitol Hill, which is 4 days to pass legislation to avoid a government shutdown. House Republicans unveiled a 6-month stopgap bill that would fund the government through September. But Democratic leaders making it clear they are not on board with this. A vote in the House is expected tomorrow. President Trump on Sunday warning a shutdown could happen, but expressing optimism the stopgap will pass. Joining me now, Leanne Caldwell, Chief Washington Correspondent for Puck. Thank you so much for being here. I guess the big question at this point is if Republicans will have the votes to go it alone and get this bill across the finish line, although it is just a stopgap and we'll be doing this again in a few months.
Yeah, so Sarah, they want to fund the government for the rest of the fiscal year. But remember, as you well know, that the fiscal year is already 6 months in. So this is just a 6-month funding bill. And yes, as you said, Speaker Mike Johnson wants to fund this just with Republican votes. And that is very unheard of because usually Republicans need Democrats to fund the government. There's a large block of Republicans who refuse to vote for government funding bills, especially when it's these stopgap measures. So Speaker Johnson is trying to do that in his very, very thin majority when he can only lose 1, maybe 2 votes, depending on the day, depending on attendance. But he is leaning very heavily into Donald Trump to do that. Donald Trump had some of the most anti-government conservatives to the White House last week to implore them to vote for this. Donald Trump has been posting on social media to encourage all Republicans, even those Republicans who don't vote for government funding, to back this. And his reason, he says, is that they need the lights on in order for DOJ to continue to cutting government or to continue to cutting the federal government. I'm also told by sources close to the White House that Donald Trump thinks that if the government does shut down, then it's a major distraction from all the things that he is doing, that he wants the attention on. But this is a huge test, governance test for Speaker Johnson and Donald Trump this week.
If they can wrangle every single Republican, it is a big test to see if that will go forward. You wrote a piece about the crisis, and the Democrats, it is their first big chance to sort of push back on Donald Trump's agenda. What are you learning that their plan is?
Yeah, so in typical Democrat fashion, they've really been struggling with this. Democrats are good governance types of members, and they believe in the government. The federal government, as we all know, is quite chaotic right now with these DOJ cuts. And so they've been struggling with if they should provide votes for Republicans to keep the government open, because it will just create more chaos, furloughs, uncertainty for federal workers who they're trying to protect. But Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries has said over the weekend that they are pushing their Democrats to vote no. They don't agree with this funding bill. It's actually a slight government funding cut from current fiscal year. And they think that this is something that they just can't get on board with. They also think that it could give Elon Musk and DOJ more leeway and ability to continue to cut the government, cut federal workers. And so they are really trying to wrangle their Democrats to vote against this. But this has been a very torturous discussion for them. But we'll see again if Hakeem Jeffries is able to keep his party united, because like you said in the top, this is really the first act of resistance that Democrats are able to do. This is the first legislating that they're going to be a part of or choose not to be a part of, Sarah.
Leanne Caldwell, thank you so much for getting up early for us this morning. Really appreciate it. Thank you.
We're actually just days away from a potential government shutdown. Republicans in Congress say they have a plan to prevent that from happening. House Speaker Mike Johnson is putting together what's called a continuing resolution, which would basically just keep the government open through September. The vote is expected Tuesday, and House Democrats, well, they're actually planning to oppose the plan.
Could happen. mean, the Democrats want that. They want to destroy the country. So I can't tell you, but it could happen. It shouldn't have happened, and it probably won't. I think the CR is going to get passed.
As Democratic lawmakers face a shutdown, they're also facing angry voters who say that they actually need to be doing more to stand up to the majority party.
I don't think waiting for 2026 and persuading people and small steps is the way to go. I think we need to do something stronger.
I don't either.
I think we need more Al Greens. I need for you to represent how angry we are and our concerns.
Joining me now to talk about all this, Congresswoman Hillary Scholten of Michigan. Congresswoman, thank you so much for being here. I want to tackle just what we heard from a constituent because I think it gets at an overall divide. You have Democrats for some Democrats in Washington, like Senator Fetterman saying, this is chaos, I'll never vote for chaos, to burn the village down in order to save it. He said that's one of our core responsibilities is to keep the government running. And then you have a constituent that says, get up and fight.
Yeah. You know, it is chaos, but it's chaos of Republicans' creation. I think it's so important for the American people to understand and realize we did not have to be here. These funding deadlines have been set for years. We know they're coming.
But there have been so many past government shutdown fights. What lessons have Democrats learned from that?
Well, I mean, we are planning to oppose this CR. The American people want us to fight, and they're going to see us fight. We are using the tools of democracy to defend our democracy. We just need 3 courageous, patriotic Republicans to join us and prevent this disastrous continuing resolution. Because, I mean, Audie, if you have seen what is in this thing, it is so harmful to the American people. You know, cutting Medicaid, cutting Medicare, threatening Social Security, cutting veterans' benefits, you know, while handing out tax breaks to their billionaire buddies, and Elon Musk is getting brand new contracts every week. This is not the budget that the American people want, so we'll be opposing it.
Very immediately this week, the government is facing a deadline for a government shutdown. Just on Saturday, the House Speaker unveiled a stopgap measure in order to keep the government funded through the rest of the fiscal year. Your assistant whip, you're on the vote counting team, which means you've got the tough job of trying to wrangle up the votes. Do you have the votes to pass this with only Republicans?
I think we will have the votes. And let me be clear, this is a continuing resolution, which means that we're basically extending the funding that everyone voted for back in December. So there's no reason why the Democrats should not join us and make this bipartisan. There's no additional partisan policy that has been put in this bill. As a matter of fact, there's only positive increases in spending. We're talking about our veterans' health programs, increasing military pay for our young men and women who put their lives on the line, increasing spending for the WIC program, Women and Children Nutritional and Food Program. Those are things that everyone should be able to support. So I imagine that this bill will be able to pass with bipartisan support. That would be my prediction at this moment. And let's not forget the additional defense money that's
But are you
going
to need bipartisan
building
support? That's the
American
question.
naval ships. I don't know. Well, we'll need bipartisan support in the Senate for sure, because you need 7 Democrat votes. It has to pass with 60 votes in the Senate. So it will have to pass with bipartisan support. And if it doesn't, then the Democrats, quite frankly, own this shutdown. But if you voted for it in December, there's no reason why you should not vote for it today. It is what they voted for under Joe Biden with minor changes. And some of those I've explained to you. The shipbuilding that is incredibly important for America. We are so behind China when it comes to our naval ships and submarines. That is a must. And all those other programs for veterans and women and children. Why would anybody vote against it?
Huge week when it comes to this. Let us see. You got a big job ahead of you this week. Congresswoman, thank you very much for coming in. Appreciate your time.